Well, it's been 6 months, and the landscape has been designed, the landscape has been envisioned, the soil's been turned, the beds have been amended, the patios have been constructed, the doors and windows have been swapped out, and this is now what we have as our finished product for Tom and Jennifer to live in. And it's a series of outdoor rooms and outdoor spaces. Great living spaces between the fire and the dining table and the outdoor kitchen and the great area under the pergola where we can sit back and watch a little TV, watch the ball game, have the family gather. It's a big open play lawn, so the kids have a space to kick the ball and move and run through the landscape. It's a beautiful big play set for the young kids so they can be active and out in their yard. This is an outdoor family. And then it's the plantings that all went in this last year. So these are all relative, in the last 6 months, they're all relatively young. Starting to pick up some fall color on the serviceberry. That's always pretty to see that great orange foliage and beautiful color and interest. That's always great. My clients aren't gardeners, so we wanted to get a kind of a sound, easy landscape that they can just enjoy and have it make the most sense for their lifestyle and how they live. One of the things that we think about and do a lot of is landscape lighting. To see a landscape come alive into the evening is kind of a critical piece. And we've looked at kind of 3 different styles of lighting that we've incorporated here. We've got a few path lights scattered around the patios and walkways for transition, circulation, kind of light up the dance floor, something that shines down low, gives us some nice illumination for circulation. And then we've done some key uplighting. So uplights like on the serviceberry, fixtures at the ground, shining up to kind of illuminate the canopy. And we'll actually try to set typically more than one uplight around a tree because trees are 3-dimensional, and we want to illuminate all 3 dimensions of the tree, not just wash light up one side, especially a tree that's going to be viewed from multiple angles. So we've done a lot of work with uplighting. And the fixtures that we like to use, these are a copper fixture. They have a nice shield on the one side, Pyrex glass lens, a billeted brass base. These guys are solid. These are lifetime fixtures that kind of give that definition. And then the third type of lighting that we've done is a moon lighting. And we're fortunate here, but we've got some big trees. So we've got this great big elm, the canopy's up over the backyard, and we've got a series of lights strategically located up in the tree and shining with a spray of light out across the backyard. And they'll be picking up and shining through the branches of other trees. So we'll kind of throw a pattern across the lawn that'll look very much like midday. Sunlight shining down through a tree, throwing a shadow pattern on the lawn. The same kind of a look, but we've toned it down to be just a tad brighter in the light of the full moon. So it just throws a nice dappled light across the backyard. Now we can see out into the yard. Typically, if there's no light in the backyard, our windows become reflective mirrors, just black mirrors. We just see ourselves in them at night. So now with the light out in the yard, your eye carries out. You can see dappled lawns, plants uplit, kids playing, activity just happens. It's just that much more comfortable to come out. So it's a nice situation there. And with an LED lamp, it's got a long lamp life. So we're not having to climb that tree and relamp those fixtures that often. So our planting scheme is kind of a nice soft border. We've got a lot of color and texture between different types of plants. Hydrangeas for summer flower. We've got some nice hosta beds that are filling in amongst the pachysandra, which is functioning as our ground cover that ties together. Bigger deciduous shrubs that'll love the shade, things like arrowwood viburnum that's bloomed with a beautiful white flower in the spring. Gets a porcelain blue fruit in the fall and a great red fall color. Red twig dogwoods, these actually were existing on the property and they're in pretty good shape. So, it's not all about making it all new all the time. A lot of times it's finding what's on site that's going to work. As we get closer to the building, we wanted to think about more year-round privacy. So it was important to pick plants that are going to do that. So these are Canadian hemlocks. And this is a conifer that will grow in some filtered shade. So we've got a couple of maple and elm, the canopy out over the top of this. And these hemlocks will do a nice job of just creating kind of a nice solid wall, adding a little bit of privacy, softening down the noise between properties. And I want to anchor with a small ornamental tree that loves to grow in the shade. Redbud is natively found as an understory tree in the forest. It has a rosy pink flower in the spring. It's going to have a nice vase-shaped habit on here. It'll arch over the top of the kitchen, kind of over the top of the hemlocks, softening the view to the house next door. So this palette kind of flows and wraps all around and takes us back, back to our living spaces. So these areas kind of define and soften, create the framework in which this garden lives, and gives them just enough interest and color and change to make the yard interesting as we go through the year.